Welcome to all our viewers who have joined the session on mission admission. Mission admission by the Times of India is the biggest higher education event in Bangalore, bringing together thought leaders and eminent educationalists to help enable students and parents to get a holistic understanding of various educational courses and career options available after 12th standard of the UC, and unravel mysteries related to admission, eligibility, career scope, alternate careers, fees, and scholarships. This year, unfortunately, we have had to go virtual. We always had this on physically, but this year, from the 5th of August to the 8th of August, we are having a virtual conference. And today, we have a panel on 5G and IOT. These are some of the fastest emerging areas. The mission admission program is powered by the Amrita Vishwavidyalaya. We have with us three really top-class experts in the area. All of them have done enormous work in the space. We have with us Professor Debabrata Das. Dr. Debabrata Das is professor at IIIT-Bangalore. Before joining IIIT Bangalore, he had served at the G.S. Sanyal School of Telecommunication. I'm sorry. At IIT Kharagpur and later at Kirana Networks in New Jersey, US. Received his PhD from IIT Kharagpur Networks and 135 peer-reviewed papers in major journals and international conferences. He has one US patent and 10 more that are under review. He has also led a number of projects sponsored by Intel, Hewlett-Packard, Microsoft, Motorola Research, Nokia, Cisco, and the government of India. We have with us Mohan Rao Goli. Mohan Rao Goli has been 23 years with Samsung and is now the corporate vice president and head of tech strategy at Samsung R&D Bangalore. He has a bachelor's degree in electronics and telecommunication and is an alumnus of IIM Bangalore. Mohan has more than 2 decades of experience in design and development of mobile phone software. His expertise in communication protocols and systems led him to contribute to Samsung's 5G development globally. He also played a key role in the commercial launch of 3G, 4G, 5G, and Samsung's Tizen platform technologies. Mohan has filed 7 patents. Samsung does a lot of work out of the India Center here. And we have Dr. Navin Kumar. Dr. Navin Kumar has over 24 years of working experience in government, industry, and academic areas. He's teaching, research, and development. Currently, he's working as associate professor in Amrita Vishwavidyapitham, Bangalore. Dr. Navin has over 75 publications in peer-reviewed international journals and IEEE conference proceedings. IEEE, for those of you who are not aware, IEEE is the world's largest, it's called the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the world's largest technical professional organization dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. Like I said, he has over 75 publications in international journals and IEEE conference proceedings. He was awarded the Fraunhofer Challenge Award in academic year 2010-2011 for the best PhD thesis work. He is closely associated with IEEE in various capacities. So welcome to all 3 of you. Great having you at this event. We have a lot of students watching. So can I first ask Dr. Das to set this rolling? Dr. Das?
Thank you, and Mr. Sujit John for your kind introduction. And thanks to Times of India for inviting us for the discussion on a very pertinent topic that related to the mission admission, which I really appreciate because particularly in this COVID time where there are a lot of uncertainty in the mind of the students, parents, those who are going to enter into the professional life of a career, or also those who are graduating out, what should I do if in this? So it is a very, I always say very interesting time and challenging time also. Why interesting? Because people are very much wanting to know what should I do and what direction I should go after so much of studies or work experience and all. So in that regard, I really want to thank Times of India for hosting this. And also I want to thank the people who worked behind the scene, Mr. Vansi and Mr. Sujit and his team for organizing this. In that note, let me come back to the topic if you have given is that is called 5G and IoT communication and mission admission. So I will break it down into two parts. First, I will speak about 5G and IoT. I will give a broad idea how it is going to impact us from communication point of view from 5G and IoT. That I will first speak. Then I will speak what should be the mission admission point of view, what we should look forward after the admissions kind of things are over. So let me start from the 5G quickly. Is that as you know, 5G stand for the fifth generation of the communication point of view. And what are those previous generation which we have used is second 2G, 3G, and 4G. At present, we are using a lot of 4G across the country and the world. And 5G has been deployed in some places in the world, but in a big way, it is yet to come. However, before I enter into the 5G, let me tell why 5G is special from 4G. Okay, so 5G has broadly categorized whole communication part inside the 5G in three broad areas. Number one area is they have said is that enhanced mobile broadband, EMBB, they called it. Then the second one is they called URLLC, ultra reliable low latency communication, URLLC. And the third one is massive machine type communication. Massive word is there. Please be focused. The students, please be focused. Massive machine type communication. So that means huge number of machine type communication will happen through this one. So now you may be thinking, if these are the three categories, enhanced mobile broadband or URLLC and massive machine type communication, MTC, then you must be thinking, what is massive? Let me give you an example first, then I will go forward, then you will understand it very quickly in depth. So let me ask to your mind, if you are sitting and listening from your home, can you imagine how many machine means devices will be there on this earth communicating to each other next 5 to 10 years? So this is a question must be asked to ourselves. So let me explain you a little more deeper. So how many machine to machine instead of human to human? What we do, we call our friend on our mobile. If you see my mobile, I call to my friend. This is called human to human communication. But there will be major communication will be there will be no human being in between. Straight only there will be automatically machine to machine communication will be happening. So these machine to machine communication numbers will be really mind boggling. For an example, a human being sitting at home, there will be smart home. So there will be smart cities. You are listening to that. Smart home means if I enter into my home, all lights will be on, fan will be on, AC will be on, my tea will be on. All these things automatically on. Who are doing this? There will be sensors called IoT, Internet of Things. Those sensors will pick me up and they will start doing what are the things I like for my comfort. That is called smart home. When I go out to my car will have a air condition on, light will be on. And when I open that close to the key of my car, I don't have to put the key. Automatically the door will open, the car will recognize me, engine will start. So these are all sensors. They communicate to each other. And there is called smart agriculture. There are smart buses, smart trains, smart offices. If you look at all, there are need of IoT devices, and they are interconnecting to through the backbone of the network from wireless. First mile will be wireless, then the backbone is optical, and then will go to the data center. And data center, there will be a lot of algorithms and all will be taking decisions or storing the data. So if in an average, the smart home, smart cars, smart buses, smart trains, smart office, smart agriculture, if in an average, urban people may have at least 150 IoT devices. And villagers may have 50 IoT devices, smart agriculture, smart village hut, so 50. So in an average, if I look at each human being will have at least 150 plus 50 by 2 if I do, so 100 IoT devices per human being. Very simple calculation, but its impact is enormous. What is its impact? 100 IoT devices per human being, then how many population we have in the world? 7 billion plus. 7.5 billion. If I minus the 5.5, 7 billion into 100 is 700 billion IoT devices will be there on this earth, communicating machine to machine and IoT to machine and all, for all kind of help to us. So now, why I said this number, 700 billion will be there over 10 years. Say from now to 10, now say 10 billion is there, it will increase exponentially when the network is ready and devices are ready. But people have coming out with the applications like smart ambulance and all. So now I am coming to the second part of it, why this number is so important. Look at how many mobile handsets are there in the world. We have only 4 billion plus. I think Dr. Rao is there. He will tell much better and explain you. Dr. Mohan Rao is there. He'll tell you much better and explain. He's from a Samsung and all. But I am just making 4+ billion human beings are having mobile device. And another 1 billion I am adding of laptop, PCs, and also 5.5 billion is where human beings are touching their hands and working or calling, working on laptop, tabs. So say 5.5 or 6 billion. So look at where is 6 billion, where is 700 billion. So much of difference will happen, the load on the network over the next 10 years. So what human being was used to do communication, human to human communication, that number of machines is only says 6 billion. But IoT will come up over the next 10 years, which is started now, 10 years, 700 billion. So now question arises that how the network is going to impact it. Very simple. You know, when you are doing a call on your mobile, going over the elevated highway on the electronic city, how many times call drops happens and all. And you are sitting and doing classes from the home, bandwidth is not good, image is not good. So you are facing problem with these 6 billion devices now, giving the bandwidth, quality of service and all kind of things. But when those 700 billion devices will come in, you will be really under tremendous pressure on the network design, bandwidth provisions and all. So 5G under these three categories, enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency, and also this massive machine-to-machine communication is trying to solve more device-to-device communication problems with a very low latency, like 1 millisecond to 1000 milliseconds. So much variance is there. So this is 5G, and 5G has a very high potential of future because a lot of new applications will come into it, lot of problems will come into it, problems to be solved. So this is my 5G and IoT, just to preliminary. Later on, I will speak more on detail. And second part is that high mission admission. Mission admission means whatever you do, whatever areas you get and do admissions of work, but you should make your fundamentals very clear, concepts of the subject. Because you see in 4G, the concept what was used, in 3G what was used, 4G used, 5G is in that direction, but lot of fundamental changes will happen. So if you're conceptually, you are very good in your subjects, then you can able to adopt fast and do well in your jobs and your studies both. So with this, let me hand over to the Mr. Sujit, that let the other panelists speak, and then I will again come in and explain in more with examples how things will happen. Thank you.
Wonderful. That was very, very, very nicely and very simply put. Thanks, Dr. Das. Thanks a lot. Mohan, would you like to take it now?
Yeah. First of all, thanks, Sujit, for arranging this and inviting me for this particular interesting
pleasure
discussion. Thanks to TUI, igniting the young minds over the years. And this year, even though we have hard situations, we went online and then providing the platform for our students to choose the right choices for their careers. Thanks to Dr. Das, I think he opened up many Pandora of opportunities for the students. So let me explain a little bit more on the 5G and IoT, and taking the cue from the Dr. Das. So I will also say that what is this 5G and all about, and how IoT can contribute towards the 5G, and what kind of skill sets that the students need to learn in their graduations, and probably as a Samsung organization, how it can help the students going forward. Yeah, the 5G, as Dr. Das mentioned, it is centered around three main pillars. One is the enhanced mobile broadband, EMBB. Second one is ultra reliability, low latency communications. The third one is massive machine type communications. Right. First of all, is the enhanced mobile broadband. What is this enhanced mobile broadband? What does it mean? Is that first of all, the beauty of 5G is that it can operate in the lower frequency bands, lower RF frequency bands, and mid RF frequency bands. And also for the first time, the cellular technology went ahead and then higher frequency bands like millimeter wave, using the millimeter wave, more than the 6 gigahertz. So especially this mobile broadband, enhanced mobile broadband is translating into the speed with which you connect to the services, speed with which the throughput you are going to get it. We are talking about the LTE world in India at the moment, but as Dr. Das mentioned that from last year onwards, few of the 5G deployments have happened in the North America and across Europe and Korea, Japan, all these countries. And pretty soon, I think India also will catch up with the 5G speed. But yeah, as I said that it is a gigabits per second. Like in LTEs, we are seeing the megabits per second. And in the 5G world, we will see the gigabits per second using the millimeter wave technology. So that's the mobile, enhancing the mobile broadband speeds. Coming to the ultra reliability and low latency communications. So radio level, as Dr. Das mentioned, that it will be the latencies are further reduced from 10 milliseconds to 1 milliseconds and even further to 0.1 milliseconds. However, the problem also is that from the core network, 5G networks are the networks to the servers which are lying in the cloud. So in 5G, what it is bringing is that the mobile edge cloud, which is going to be very nearer to the base stations, it will be deployed so that those latencies also will get further reduced. So that the services like like you mentioned, like smart homes, smart factories, even medical cares in the future, where ultra precision and then low latencies are involved. So this kind of technologies will emerge and useful for those words. Let me take an example of the smart factory. In the smart factory, most important thing is that quality controls. If once the product is being prepared, whether the quality control need to be passed through, whether it is defective or the right successful product. So there is a high resolution cameras will be there to take the pictures in multiple angles, and the data will move to the mobile edge cloud. It gets analyzed using the AI and machine learning algorithms, and then the result will be come back to this here. We are talking about the factories here. Factory means the productivity. When you see the productivity, even milliseconds later, productivity problems, right? So the quality, so it has to happen all this in real time. Right? So you're good. Okay. All things need to happen in the real time. So all happens through the 5G low latency communication technologies. So coming to the massive machine type communications, as Dr. Das told all these things, like in the few years from now, billions of the devices will be connected each other, and billions of devices generates that enormous data. That data will be gone to the cloud, and then cloud need to analyze that particular data, and then meaningful routines need to come back to the user, like smart home situations where Dr. Das mentioned that when the consumer come to the home, lights need to be on, air condition need to be settled at the right place, and then the mood need to be set up, and your curtains need to be smart windows need to be prepared, All these things need to be set up as a routine. It's not like it's all happens by the people at the moment. Can it happen automated using this data to be analyzed? How to carry this data? That is where the challenge is. That's where the 5G comes into picture, and then connect the entire devices. So that way, the 5G and IoT will go on hand in hand, and AI and ML will fuel or implement some of these things. And a little bit more coming to the education point of view, right? Now, because of these situations, everything is going into online classes, and many things, many people are going for the work from home. Actually, we are work from home. I came to office for this session actually. For the online education point of view, you think about the virtual reality. So even when you are having the systems or medical setups, you may not be. I mean, what kind of medical education can happen during the online, right? So you need to go and play with the cadavers and all these things. So using the virtual reality technologies, it will be much more enriched learning. And that virtual reality streaming means that a lot of data is needed with the 4K kind of streaming. So that requires a lot of bandwidth. So that's where the 5G will come into picture. Another thing is that augmented reality. This will also take into the education into the different angle altogether. So look at the augmented reality is like in the natural places where the digitized content also will be superimposed on the natural scenes actually. So in case of imagine about the smart classes, right, where the professors, their augmented reality avatars will be coming and then teaching them to the students, will be much more physical experience can be brought in. Again, these are all things are possible only with the 5G 3 pillars that we are talking about. Low latency is very important. Massive machine type communication is very important, and then the enhanced mobile broadband, that is also is very important to realize these particular use cases. So like Dr. Das mentioned, the 5G is just started with the initial deployments, right? So the current initial deployments globally is focused on the only one concept, like enhanced mobile broadband, like the low latencies and massive machine type communications is yet to reach to the consumer's space. And over the period of the years, this will become reality in the space. What students need to do? Yeah, I think like Dr. Das mentioned, fundamentals is very, very important. Fundamentals of the communications, fundamentals of the multimedia, fundamentals of the image processing, fundamentals of the computer vision is very, very important. So as an industry, we are also having collaborations with the academia. So where we are going to solidify these fundamentals by providing certain number of projects, working with the students, and then training them in certain areas. I will talk about that, what we are going to do in the next session. I mean next time. I would like to give the time to Dr. Navin to share his thoughts, and over to Sujit.
Is absolutely in the thick of all these 5G things, and the world looks absolutely fascinating from what seems to be emerging. And I know Samsung is doing some phenomenal things with students, and like you said, we'll get to that later in the program. Before that, Dr. Navin Kumar. Dr. Navin Kumar, like I said, he's with the Amrita Vidyapeetham. Dr. Navin.
Yes, so first of all, thank you, Sujit, for bringing us together on the same platform. I also thank Amrita for hosting and sponsoring this this event. And to all the TUI viewers, students, parents, scholars, professionals. So thank you for being with us today in this morning. and your colleague Silpa Bamsi. So thank you very much. Okay, let me just say a few more things about what Professor Das and Mohan Rao had told. So they have set a very good foundation for the audience. What is 5G and how and what are the different applications you have and so on. I think I will try to encourage and I will try to motivate the students, parents by giving some examples that what this IoT is going to do for them and how 5G is fueling IoT and what are the scopes we have. So I have few statistics and data. Based upon that, I will try to relate the business point of view, the technology, and so on. And I'm very sure that at the end, they will understand, yes, we have the future still, right? And also I will highlight, apart from IoT and 5G, about some future communication, that is what is going to happen perhaps in the future. Is it only 4G, 5G, 6G or some G or what G? I don't know. Okay, so I will try to highlight this. So basically there are 3 points that I would like to cover in this talk, initial talk. Okay. So let us start with IoT. And IoT, I think the biggest a phrase you have, if you understand that phrase, I think more than 50% you have understood the thing, and you have understood what is the future behind us. And what is that phrase you have is connected devices. And you add into that number of connected devices, right? So I'll give you some example. In 2016, we had around 4.7 billion devices connected. And right now, today, in just beginning of 2020, we have close to 10 billion connected devices. Now, why I'm saying, if you understand this phrase of N connected devices, what does it mean? It tells you almost everything. And I think you will remove fear from the student so far. They will remove the fear that he or she will not get a job and why they should study about this. Absolutely. Now, what is this connected in number? If you take, for example, 10 billion, and in next 5 years, as Professor Das was mentioning, Mohan Rao was mentioning, that this n will be, I don't know, infinite. It will go to infinite. 50 billion, 200 billion, how many you do not know. And in a simple word, if we say, we can say that anything which can be connected will be connected tomorrow. That is very simple, right? So this N and connected device. What is connected devices? You have hardware and you have software. This means that communication is involved in connecting to device or N number of devices. Now let us take N. If these billions are there, who are going to manufacture and who is manufacture? Hardware, software, designers. So do you see that if these billions grow every day, employment will not grow? It will grow tremendously, right? You see the business point of view. I have some data, IoT Analytics 2019. Amazon announced in first quarter of 2019, and they have a plan to launch 3,236 satellites in LEO, lower orbits, just to provide connectivity across the globe. Ubiquitous connectivity, right? What does it mean? 3,000, who will make the satellite? Who will do the R&D? Who will do connectivity? So the employment is not that static, and we should not be afraid of that.
I have another example to give. Lime, a vehicle, two-wheeler vehicle manufacturer, they declared 100th million ride on their IoT connected scooters. 100th million ride on IoT enabled scooter or connected scooters. In 14 months, there is an increase of 16-fold in IoT connected scooters, right? You take another example. Of course, we know that the startup or number of startups in IoT domain is the largest. And India stands third largest startup. And most of the startups are in IoT domain and AI and machine learning, of course, right? Now, the largest startup, Samsara, started in 2015 with 0 employee. Today, they have over 1,600 employees. And their revenue grows to $300 million US in just 4 years of time, right? And most of their work is in IoT domain, hardware and software, right? And if we see top applications of IoT, it is industrial IoT, IIIOT. All industry are being automatized and IoT enabled. How many sensors, how many actuators are placed, and where are the software implemented and interacting? It is just limitless. So IoT, basically the scope of this is limitless. So if I give few examples of the largest verticals of IoT which are operating is industrial IoT, transportation and mobility, energy sector. If in 2019, Sweden alone manufactured 1 million smart meters in the energy sector. So these are some of the examples and statistics that you see. From there, you can visualize they are connected. And what is the meaning of connected? You have the protocol, you have communication, you have hardware. So if you have the knowledge, you have the scope for this, right? Now let us go to this. Now coming to 5G. Now, until now, 10 billion devices are connected and being supported by LTE network. But when it becomes 100 billion, is it possible that LTE network going to support? Might be difficult. Not might be difficult, it will be difficult. So, other reason of IoT growth is the development of 5G. In fact, we say that 5G is fueling IoT development. Now, related to this 5G and IoT, IoT generates, when 10 billion devices are there, we have data, huge data. And this data collections and data analytics growing. And this led to what we call it as AI, machine learning and deep learning. What data scientists they do, what the data analytics they do, and from where the data is coming? It is coming from IoT. IoT is getting support from 5G network. Okay. So if 5G network, if we do not design the network, if we do not have the research in the 5G, then IoT will not flourish. If IoT does not flourish, your AI, ML or DL will not flourish. They are all interrelated, right? So this is the 5G. I will highlight in 2 to 3 minutes what is we have in the future. Communication. we are in communication. So I will talk about little bit in communication. Already Professor Das and Mohan Rao has explained about 5G, but what is it next? So is that from 3G we came to 4G, 5G, and is that some incremental will happen in 6G? If let us assume that 6G, yes, people have started talking about 6G, no doubt. Already 2 major workshops happened worldwide on 6G. We see that, okay, there are increment, and that increment or the technology is being brought into the network. For example, AI-enabled physical layer. This is not there in 5G, and it will be there in 6G. The health-wise, if you take the latency, Professor Das and Mohan Rao also talk about the latency. We are talking about millisecond. Whether we will achieve it, do we need further? Might be that increment will happen in 6G. What about after that, 2030? What is about beyond 2030, beyond 2040? Is that G will continue? Maybe, may not be. But a group of researchers have different thought, and which we have not at all addressed that. It is not that not addressing or addressed, but it is going to happen. And what is that going to happen in future? We call it as future wireless communication era. It will not be a generation of technology 5G and 6G or 7G. It is future wireless communication era 2050. And what is that? I will give you one example and try to make you to think of what is that going to happen. Now, right now, we are unable to transmit all our 5 senses. Audio, we are able to transmit. Video, transmit, right? But what about smell? We are not able to transmit. What about taste? We are not able to transmit. Now, do you think that it will not happen? Let's say I go to, you are visiting and mobile, you go to Australia and you find a very good rose there and they smell and you think that, okay, let this smell be sensed by my wife or son or whoever sitting in India. Now, right now, we cannot do it. But the future is there where we can see that how this smell, how this taste, we are able to transmit it. How we will be able to digitize this smell and then transmit it to distance. Now, do we need latency in this case? Let's say even this smell goes to our destination after half minute. How does it matter? So in this case, we might not need latency. In this case, we might not need high data rate, gigabit or terabit. So the basic driver of all the generations that we saw, it is high data rate, might not be applicable for this type of communication, which might come and become necessary tomorrow. So this is called human-bound communication. If we are able to transmit all 5 senses with what we have by digitizing or by other means, do not know what will be. But that is what human-bound communication is. And this is the future of communication, wireless communication. And related to this, we call it something called as knowledge home. What is the knowledge home? Just I will take a half of a minute. If your home where you are there, if it is self-awareness, if your home caring and helping, if your home controls and provide guidance, if your home is secured and offering public safety, This is called knowledge home. And this can be built, this can be designed with the help of IoT, with the help of 5G, 6G, and future G. But it says the home will be a platform for exchanging the perceptive information between individuals. And this perceptive information altogether in its exchangeable format is the knowledge that individual attains. And knowledge home is the foundation for future wireless communication era. So with this, I will stop for time being and I will hand over to Sujit for further processing. Thank you.
Navin, yeah, it's a absolutely fascinating world that's going to emerge. Looks like, and all of you are in the thick of all of this. Sorry, I should have mentioned earlier, my colleague Shilpa is also there with me. The two of us together will moderate the session. Already questions have started coming in. But before that, Dr. Das, I just want to ask you, in terms of sheer aptitude, Mohan mentioned some. For a student who wants to get into these areas, Dr. Das, what would you recommend? What kind of aptitude, what kind of knowledge would you recommend?
Okay, very good question. Really, I appreciate. And before that, I want to thank Dr. Navin for a wonderful and Dr. Mohan for a nice presentation about the areas and also in depth. So quickly, I will address your things. It's a very important question, Mr. Sujit, you asked. Before I go in, all of us have said one thing is that fundamentals. Okay, what is fundamental? We have not defined. Okay, we all are speaking about it. I'll give you an example quickly, then I will come back. I will give you a non-technical example because technical things we are discussing here for 5G and IoT, but non-technical example that everybody will understand. For an example is English. English, every one of us speaks, writes and all. But what is fundamental with respect to the English grammar? Okay, but if somebody understands English grammar very well, whether he is in the arts, whether he is in engineering, whether he is an administrator, if he's in the arts, if he wants to write a poetry, he can write in a good English. If he's in the technology, if he has to know the English to write the technical papers, research papers, or if he's in the administration, he has to write a nice DPR, detailed project reports. But English is the common. So the fundamental part is the grammar. Okay. And I adapt to anywhere I am. If my English is good, I quickly adapt to different environment called applications. One is poetry, one is technical research papers, one is administration DPR. So with that line, I'm coming to give the answer to your question. What one should do to adapt to this fast changing engineering world? And it will be changed much more faster what has happened last 20 years or 30 years because of automation. What Dr. Navin was hinting and Dr. Rao was hinting is that we are moving towards automation. Automation means a lot of information which human being used to do will be done by the machines. And those machines will be developed by the human beings. Let me tell you. So those machines and the intelligentsia inside that machine has to be developed by human beings. So human beings should move more towards that. I'll give you a second example quickly. You have seen car industry 20 years back, 10 years, there are a lot of human beings on the floor doing the car assembly. But now who is doing? Robots. So robots are designed by human, programmed by the human, innovation done by the human. So those jobs will open up. Got it? So we the students, teacher and students and the scientists in the industry are also like a one kind of teacher. They train their younger generation like Dr. Mohan and Dr. Navin. So we are also students. We also learn a lot from reading and doing research and all. So we should adapt to the change first and foremost. Adapt to the change. What is the change? The automation. Automation is going to happen very fast because of IoT, 5G, and ML AI, which already Dr. Navin said, and inside the cloud or edge computing, which will be close to the base station and all. So how this future will move is more towards innovation. The whole students should now make their fundamental in the math. First and foremost thing is the math. And class 9, 10, 11, 12 physics is very good because that gives you systems understanding. What is physics? Physics means how all those things around us works, like electromagnetic waves to the forces, mechanics, anything in the robots, there is a hands at the robotic hands. There are mechanics we study later on in engineering. Name is called mechanics, but the fundamental is physics. Those pulley, force, pull and push, force, power, all kind of things. And third things they have studied already 9-10 years, chemistry and biology. The math, physics, chemistry, and biology. These four are the very fundamental. And English is for the writing. And that is now in engineering, we call it in India particularly, it's called software and hardware designs. Design means programming. So programming and the hardware design should be like a skill. That should not be your mainstream domain knowledge. Domain knowledge will be on the subjects like networking, communications, like protocols, network protocols like internet, how internet works, how this Zoom is working, and how this Microsoft team is working, and or how our Google Meet is working, those protocols over the networks, how IoT is going to communicate. And communication, physical layer communications, how this communication world works, how a CPU inside a computer works. These are all domains. How a operating system works, how a ML AI is the optimization techniques or logical techniques, which will be the higher level of mathematics. So students should, as I gave you the example, what is fundamental? The fundamentals of understanding how these basics of math, basics of the domain knowledge of engineering, first, any subject they pick up, they should be fundamental, should be very clear. They should ask a lot of why and why not. Why not? Why to understand the concepts? Why not this to invent the next thing? Why not? When I say something to you, my friend, hey, why not let us think about this new idea to solve this problem? The moment why not comes to your brain means you are inventing new things. So that students should learn now. First is fundamentals, then that is why. Why you will clear your fundamentals, why not will clear your,
Thanks, Dr. Das. That really explains so everything, English, physics, chemistry, maths, biology, you can come from multiple areas or a mix of some of these. Shilpa, I think there are a lot of questions coming. Shilpa?
Shilpa is muted.
The first one is coming from Mohan. Will the ECE curriculum for BTech students in the next few years cover 5G and IoT, or will it have a separate branch that universities are planning to create?
question asked to whom?
Sir, yeah, I think you can, Dr. Das, you can take that question.
Answer, but Dr. Navin, I will request him to add. Of course, yes, it will be part of the BTech now. It will be no more separate subjects. IoT already there in many institutions. IoT is being taught, and 5G is trickling in already in the core curriculums of the communications. Yes.
Which programs do they typically come under?
It will come under ECE for the physical layer of the communication of the 5G, and hardware design of the IoT devices will come under the ECE, and the protocols and of the IoT communicating to the 5G higher layers will come in both computer science and engineering and ECE, both.
So basically the signal processing related things like the communication, physical layer, how the modulation, coding, these kind of things will be focused on the ECE, electronics and communication curriculum. Whereas the top layers like how do AI need to work and what kind of computer vision and how the programming will evolve, will be more focused on the computer science. But I think having blend of both of them really helps for the people, for the students to grow further.
Okay, so you can take some credit courses in the other side or something like that. Is that possible in these universities now? Dr. Navin, you want to add to that?
Dr. Navin,
muted. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. This is very good question, and I encourage and motivate them. ECE, yes, it is going. 5G is going to be part of ECE, and I would request not only autonomous university like us or IIIT or so on, that they continuously and in a very limited period of time they should keep updating their curriculum. If they do not do, then they will be lagging behind.
So we see that some of the university for last 15 years, last 20 years, they have not updated, and that is not the good sign. Even in our curriculum, we have the elective courses of LTE and LTE Advanced and so on. Of course, 5G is not included, but in the next revision, yes. But in master, if you take, we are already teaching part of this. So we cannot ignore the changes that taking place in the technology around us. We have to immediately adapt it. So the answer to this, yes, it is going to be part of ECE curriculum.
There's a question from Shivesh. The panelists' thoughts on SpaceX's Starlink satellites. Is it a financially viable model for connectivity in remote areas? Who wants to take that?
Yeah, so I gave these statistics, right? So Amazon has planned over 3,200 in the lower orbit satellites, and the main objective is to provide connectivity in the rural areas. So this is the yes, this is the mission. This is basically what they want to do it.
Okay. I guess the financial viability we'll know only once it's all gets going, and the question was on financial viability. I guess we'll have to wait and see whether Amazon makes money out of it.
Amazon, Google, if you have doubt on financial viability of them, I think they don't have answer for this.
Shilpa?
Yeah, we have a question from Suresha, and the question is to Mr. Mohan Rao. How will industry academia connect evolve over the next few years in the wake of the pandemic? And what are Samsung's R&D efforts in this direction?
So at Samsung, as I mentioned earlier, we have been working in 5G and IoT, AI, image processing, vision intelligence, many certain central of excellence areas, which are translating into our products and solutions that you are seeing in our Galaxy series and series of Samsung products. So how academia collaboration is happening, I would like to tell about one of the program that we have launched, and we are pretty successful in nature, and it's called Prism. It is like providing and igniting the student minds. And how this will work is that we already have the MOU signed up with the 10 engineering colleges, and about 150 student projects are started ongoing right now. So each of the student project is like 3 bright students from that particular college, and 1 professor and 1 coach and guide from our side will work as one particular project. Typically these kind of projects are carved out of our big projects which we are running in for our devices, and this will give the students to apply their fundamentals, whatever they learn in the academy, to for these particular projects. Typically these projects are like, for example, you know that Samsung is very good in the low light technologies to capture the images and all these things. So one of these projects is that some of the students are working how to improve the video quality in the low light conditions, right? So I mean, the kind of engagement that we are having, it is tremendous, and we are able to see a lot of ideas coming from these students. In turn, they are also learning some of our techniques and platforms, and some of these products, if it gets mature, they can be going to our India products or the global products also. So that way, the collaboration between the win-win, where students can learn the new techniques, new algorithms, and we also can understand their needs and what kind of insights, and also most importantly, we can connect the millennials.
Oh, you wrote about this program in the Times the other day, and I thought it was fascinating. One of the points mentioned was that the students, I mean, the group that is working on it can file patents and all that if it comes to that. Would the student's name also figure in the patent?
Yeah, actually,
Name
using the particular things, of course, our Samsung employee as well as the students and professors can jointly prepare the papers and even file the patents also.
even while you are a student, it's possible that your name might appear in a patent, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, amazing program.
That is very, very good for the students, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Shilpa?
We'll wait for some of the questions to queue up.
I have a question here. How can IoT be made more secure? Is it prone to hackers for accessing personal information? On that note, will cybersecurity become a part of communications education? Who wants to take that?
Yes, I can talk about that. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's a very important question. Thanks to the questions, and it is already there in security is there as a umbrella cover for all kind of communications. Let me start with that statement very strongly. And it is there. As IoT is concerned, in IoT giving security is difficult. Why? Because it is a small device and it also large IoT devices. There are large and small in the sense of power and computation. Power means how much battery power is there, or you are connected to the directly electric connections, those IoT devices. Then I don't have a problem if it's a large battery and all. And computation means the CPU to compute my encryption, decryption algorithms. So if it is a small, tiny IoT devices, I have a less computational power there and less battery power there. So I have to have a encryption, decryption of different kind in the IoT devices. Because it has to be light means low power consumption and low computation, and it has to be a lot of inventions are going on in that direction, okay, according to the different IoT applications. Yes, security has lot of work has been done for the IoT, and still it is an open research problem. Work is going on. Point number one. Point number two, there are already attacks happened through IoT devices, because IoTs are proliferated across the various areas, small, tiny devices. Like I can enter air conditioner. Yeah. So people have
video cameras are having.
Yeah. People have done already attack through the IoT devices in multiple examples are there. So they are being caught, and how they did those, and people are working on that to solve those problems. So yes, it will be a very much part of the curriculum in the important part, not only important after the communication protocol part, security will be equally important for IoT and 5G.
I'll give you one example to support Professor Das, what he was trying to say. If you go to the website of IoT Analytics, it says that from January to May 2020, 100th million device got hacked in this 5 months.
Okay.
Now you can imagine what is happening in this security domain and what is the scope that you have. And security is your green area, whether it is IoT, it is 5G, 6G or NG. It will remain always there, and it has to be a part of curriculum. And in both, not in both, it should be in all the department of engineering. Because let us take a grid communication, right? Or take the meters, smart meters, which is the electrical domain we consider. But my meter reading is something else, and somebody hacked it and make it exceed that. Now, who is responsible and who is doing? Is it a communication guy, security guy of electrical domain, mechanical domain, or communication domain, or computer scientist? So security is always there, and it should be taught, and it should be integral part of any branch of engineering or computer related education. Yeah.
Yeah, adding to the Dr. Das and Dr. Kumar's say, yeah, security is always will be challenging for any new technologies or any new protocols or any new communication methods, any new IoT devices. Security is always a challenging thing, and yeah, there is a lot of research is going on to how to encrypt and decrypt, and what kind of new security algorithms need to be developed. it is a continuous stream of things. Yeah.
So these light power, I mean, the low power light endpoints, you need a very different architecture framework for all algorithms and all that, is it?
Yeah.
What, are you also doing work around that, or Samsung?
Yeah, actually, we are also working on this, researching on the security related topics, and how do we communicate between the tiny devices to the top devices to the networks, and what kind of encryption techniques need to be adopted.
I can add here to Mr. Sujit John's question. Thanks to Dr. Mohan Rao. So Samsung's Mr. Rajvel Swami, he's the employee of Samsung Bangalore. He's a good friend of Dr. Mohan Rao and ours also. So he's the vice president or the vice chairman of the security of the worldwide standard 5G. Please, it is a very pride moment of us as India is concerned, as Bangalore is concerned, and Samsung and IIIT is also concerned. Because he was our ex-student. So he's
the vice chair of the security 3GPP standardization group worldwide.
Worldwide.
He's the vice chair, yeah.
And whatever the security will go in, he and the chair, it will go through them on the 5G worldwide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And sitting in Bangalore.
Sitting in Bangalore.
So people
Amazing.
are calmly working. They are very modest. They don't speak out. They're very modest. They don't speak.
Some amazing talent here. Yeah. Absolutely. Shilpa, you have more questions?
Yeah. We have a question from Mahati, and this is to Mr. Mohan Rao. Will IoT mean that we move in a direction where...
Sorry, I lost the audio.
It's a bit of a lag.
Shilpa
where we get locked in an echo oven, etc. of the same brand?
Can you repeat that?
I think she has to repeat. We lost the audio.
Okay, sorry. I think there was some problem with the line. This question is to Mr. Mohan Rao, and it's from Mahati. Will IoT mean that we move in a direction where we get locked in an ecosystem? Will I be expected to buy a TV, fridge, oven, etc. of the same brand?
Not necessarily, because now currently the most of the IoT related things are emerging as IoT cloud. So in Samsung we have something called Smart Things Cloud, which can be interop with any other IoT clouds. So not necessarily that all the devices should be from the same manufacturer, but nevertheless, being in Samsung, of course, we have to say that all our consumer devices are IoT enabled at the moment.
Dr. Navin, when do you think we'll have reached this stage of being able to transmit smell and things like that?
Dr. Kumar, you are on the mute.
He can switch on. He can switch on. You can switch on.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So it is a very conceptual stage. Some of the papers that have appeared last year, and it is not my concept. There is a big guy and Professor Ramji Prasad, who works in Denmark, basically from India, and he stands very tall in the wireless world. And it is his concept. Actually, whatever he talks about not less than 25 years before. So it is his concept, and this is what he says, that wireless world communication era of 2050 is going to be knowledge home, and knowledge home will be the three part. One is human bound communication, when we are able to transmit and receive all our senses. When we are able to transmit and receive our feeling and identity, that is feel and transmit, FIT, and then knowledge home, which should be self-awareness, which guides you automatically, which takes care of you automatically and everything. So this is the knowledge home that we expect in the era of 2050.
That is what we call it as wireless communication era 2050. And it is just a concept. It is just the people have started working towards this, and hopefully when they start working, that flow will come and more number of people and researchers will join that team and take it forward. Yeah, so it is very early stage.
Early stages still. Okay,
Yes.
okay. There's a question to Dr. Das. Can a triple E grad pursue MTech in communications related courses?
Yes, triple E, of course, yes. That are fundamental. They are highly welcome in communications, and because of triple E, if you look at the electrical engineering is the mother of multiple areas. Electronics, computer science, originally computer engineering all came from mother area was electrical engineering. And triple E and all, if you look at, they have genetically connected to original electrical engineering, and later on they evolved. Like you see computer science now, computer science will maybe broken down into two parts. One will be computer science theory and other will be data science. So as the technology is evolving, and the new subjects are coming in, 4 years curriculum cannot handle all those things. So they branch it up in different specialization, or like AI ML now. Everybody talks about that, starting from BTech first year to PhD end in the institutes, academia, and of course in the industry, everyone. So now the thing is, it will be like a mathematics. Mathematics was there for us from school. We never thought that mathematics will not. Say AI ML will be part of it now. Like programming. Programming was only in the third year of BTech 25 years back. Now class 9 it is in there, Java programming and all. So a couple of things will be as if it is your part of your life. Some of the things will be you have to choose. Those are called domain, which domain you want to expertise and do more in-depth knowledge. And that domain knowledge will be extremely important to invent. And after the invention, use these skills, AI, ML, programming, math, English, all to present your new innovations.
Okay, okay.
The triple E
Well said,
can
Dr. Das.
communication very much.
Okay. Shilpa?
Voice is not coming.
We have a question from Lakshmi Priya. For students pursuing engineering currently, what additional resources do you suggest apart from the academic curriculum to be updated with the recent trends?
Yes. So the most, I will give you the first, tell you the example, then I will tell what they have to learn quickly, very quickly. Other panelists can add. You see, ultimately, everyone develops a system. System means you look at computer is a system, mobile is a system, IoT device is a system, television is a system, or system related softwares or hardware, products. The final word is product we call. Okay. So if you are, what happening is that majority of the students, not all, majority of the students are learning the curriculum in the courses are there theoretically. So what extra? They should do a good project. They should pick up a nice project, do some hands-on experiment or develop something on the top of that. Whatever they have learned, they can use some of, according to their areas of interest. They pick up a project, do by themselves, and see failure. One should not worry. Success, one should not worry. But by this process, they will learn a lot. Simple security algorithm, load in a system, see and communicate it, and on the other side, see are you able to decrypt it or not. Or you can do a communication system, or you develop an IoT system. So one thing which is we are lacking in overall is the development, using your ideas, concept, and develop something hands-on. Then when you go to academia for higher studies or industry for work, then you can quickly relate yourself to the work. So that is my fundamentals, compulsory, and concepts, theory, and plus hands-on systems.
Absolutely, Dr. Das. I think that I hear this from many people that our students don't do enough of those hands-on work, those applications and all that. And many of our universities don't quite encourage that, or they're not got into that enough. So that's a big message to students. Try and apply these techniques all the time and get some hands-on experience, even if you're doing it yourself. One last question from me, and then we'll wrap this up. You know, there's this worries about 5G in the UK. The people who went around burning up 5G towers, saying these are dangerous. The waves, too much of these waves or whatever. Can you comfort people at large that 5G is not in any sense danger to their lives or whatever the fears are?
Yeah, very good question, and I will also request other panelists to speak about it. Let me tell you very straight. If assumption, let us assume we as a scientist or engineer or a speaker or like you assume that 5G is not there. So your question on 5G, let us assume 5G is not there. Do we think there are no electromagnetic waves in this air? There are hundreds and thousands of different frequencies of electromagnetic waves. Example, Wi-Fi is there, 4G is there, 3G is there, and your satellite communication is there, television communication is coming through the electromagnetic waves. So, and radios are there. We are not using radios are there. So look at everybody, there are hundreds of thousands of different radio frequencies. Police communicates to each other. They have a different frequency that goes through your body, but you don't know because we don't tune to that frequency. But everything touches our body. Every electron, that what I want to say, even though your assumption is that 5G, assume that 5G is not there, but we are already surrounded by, touched by so many electromagnetic waves. Okay, point number one. What is matter to be worried and concerned is that the radiation of the electromagnetic wave should not go beyond some threshold value.
That's true. Okay.
That 5G also taking care of that very much.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
5G also, then the standard, base station should not radiate beyond certain level. It is harmful. Same is applicable to 4G, same is applicable to 3G, same is applicable to 2G, same is applicable to Wi-Fi also.
Okay.
So one should, and all this radiation in the base station, the service providers and all should do below certain level. Okay.
And global standard bodies are taking care of.
So that is my answer to this question.
Okay.
And now I want other panelists if you want to share.
Yeah, I would just, I do agree with Professor Das what he has said, and I will tell you just in a simple sentence, what people have the confusion and doubt is 5G. Normally they think that it is a higher frequency and something like that. Of course, we are going higher frequency, but frequency alone is not harming our body. That people should understand. And when it harms when you transmit more power, more energy in that frequency. And by virtue of the standardization, and this standardization process ensures that a base station or a mobile station or an AP should not transmit more than this power. And if more than this power is not transmitted, we should not be worried about our health. This is number one. And lot of study already done. WHO report of 10, 12, 16, if you see, in 16, exhaustive study was done on the radiation effect on human body. And nothing has come out seriously for which we should be bothered about. Yes, there was some video clip in Netherlands and somewhere the birds are dying and so on. It was all useless. It was a wrong video circulated. So don't worry about that radiation. There is a limit standardization which ensures that transmitted power is within the limit.
Yeah, adding to Professor Das and Professor Navin, very much true, very, very much true. And like 5G, we have 4G, 3G. And then in the beginning, I also told that 5G can operate at the low frequency band, mid frequency band, and high frequency bands too. When I say like that, why 5G is at the high frequency band, there is a lot of research went through altogether, and what kind of power level need to be adjusted for this particular frequency levels, and which is non-harm to the humankind or any living things.
Okay.
So at Samsung, whenever we make these 5G related products or IoT related products, we fully comply to the 3GPP standardization guidelines.
Okay. So nothing to worry about. Global standards bodies are ensuring that power levels and all of that are kept well within control, and all the players would be following those norms. Wonderful discussion. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Dr. Das. You're a great professor. You make everything very simple. Absolutely. Mohan, Dr. Navin, wonderful talking to all of you. Fascinating, I think, the way the world is emerging, kind of technologies we are getting into. Hope we live long enough to see the smells and all being transmitted. Great. And thanks to Shilpa, Vamsi, everybody. Amrita, Vishwavidyapeetham, you are the ones who powered this session admission. Thanks so much to all of you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sujit. Thank you.
Thank you, all the students, and all the very best for your careers.
Thank you, viewers. Keep watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you, students, for all the best for your career, and thanks to Times of India, particularly Mr. Sujit, Mr. Vamsi, and Shilpa for organizing so nicely this, and my esteemed panelists, Dr. Mohan Rao and Professor Navin, Kumar, always energetic. With a lot of ideas.
So last message to audience and students especially, not to worry about, especially technical education has age, and you're supposed not to worry about at all.
So my last message to all the students: all the best for your careers. Go and do have high ambitions, and all the best for your careers. And for the parents, don't worry, your children will do well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I might say thank you for this, and focus on your fundamentals and hands-on, both side by side, fundamental and hands-ons. And world is turning to more and more interesting in technology. Lot of open challenges and problems coming up because of IoT and 5G, leading to cloud, edge computing, security, name it. All those are still a lot of open challenges. And please,
India is at the forefront of many of these things. Great, absolutely.
thank you again, and thanks for organizing.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Leon.
you.
Thank you, Silva. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.